In today's video, we'll be talking about some tobacco and honey fragrances. If you're interested, then just keep watching. Hi, my name is Aisha from simplyaisha.com. Here on YouTube, I make videos about fragrance, beauty, luxury, and lifestyle. If those are things you're interested in, please consider subscribing. And if you are a returning subscriber, hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. I'm very excited for today's video because I love the note of tobacco and I really love tobacco honey combinations. On top of that, I'll be talking to you about one of my favorite new fragrances. This is Guerlain's Tobacco Honey. It's a new fragrance to my collection and a new fragrance in general, and I love it. And this fragrance actually inspired me to do this video because I realized that this fragrance is out of the price range of so many people, and so many people are not able to smell it in person or get a sample. So I wanted to do this video for you all so you can kind of compare them to other tobacco honey fragrances in my collection, and then go from there to see if maybe you want to get a sample or try a whole nother fragrance altogether. So let's go ahead and get into these fragrances. So since this is the fragrance that inspired this video, we're going to start out with Guerlain Tobacco Honey. So this fragrance is newer to my collection. I think I've only worn it twice at this point, but I am loving it. So when I first spray this fragrance, I get a lot of honey and some tobacco. So the honey to me is more prominent at very first spray. As the fragrance starts to settle, the honey kind of mellows out a little bit, and the longer this fragrance wears, I feel like the tobacco and honey kind of start to switch places. So the tobacco becomes a little bit more prominent. Deep in the dry down, I don't smell the honey as much, and it's more so just tobacco and the other notes. So as far as the other notes that are in here, when I smell this, I feel like I can smell some other spices in here, namely cardamom. I'm not sure if that's a spice listed, but I feel like I can smell cardamom, maybe even a little bit of incense in this fragrance. So it has that deep like smokiness to it. The honey that's in here is very realistic smelling, which is one reason that I think I really enjoy this fragrance, because everything just smells so like full and it embodies you when you wear it. So although I've only worn this fragrance twice, I've worn it enough to see how it performs on me. I've worn this on a date night, I've worn it during the day, and both times I got excellent performance. So as far as projection, it's not a beast mode scent, which is not really something I expect from this Guerlain line. These fragrances are pretty elegant in my opinion, and I feel like this falls into that same type of wear. It's an elegant wearing fragrance, and so I don't get like beast mode projection. However, this fragrance lasts forever, and the projection I do get from this fragrance is still pretty decent. So on me, I can smell this the entire time that I'm wearing it, and I've gotten a compliment on this from my husband, which at the time I think he was sitting maybe about 5 feet away from me, so he was able to smell it on me. I will say that that projection gets closer to the skin probably around the like 5 or 6 hour mark, but honestly on my skin this has lasted at least like 10 hours. Like it's amazing because I really did not expect that out of this fragrance. But yeah, it lasts on my skin about 10 hours. I'm able to smell it on myself the majority of that time without having to do one of these. So I would say the performance on this is stellar. Now this is a smooth, round, sweet tobacco scent. So I feel like this fragrance is going to be perfectly unisex, and women, if you're scared of tobacco, don't let the note scare you off. I mean, obviously tobacco is in here, but I feel like if you're trying to get into tobacco, this could be like a starter tobacco, even though it's expensive. But I feel like the way it smells could be like a starter tobacco. I don't think it will be too harsh for a lot of women that are not used to wearing tobacco. Anyway, if you're not used to wearing tobacco though, definitely sample, do not blind buy. Now, when it comes to when I think the best time to wear this fragrance is, pretty much for all of these fragrances, I would say fall winter is the best time because I feel like tobacco and honey just really complements cooler weather. However, the first time I wore this was on my birthday, and it was not cold. It was at night though, and I didn't feel like it was overpowering. I just feel like the scent profile reminds me of fall winter, but you could definitely wear this at night year round. So again, that is Tobacco Honey from Guerlain. The next fragrance I have here is from Tom Ford, and this is Tobacco Vanille. Now, Tobacco Vanille does not not actually have honey as a listed note, but the reason I'm including it in this video is because when I initially smelled tobacco honey, this was the first fragrance that I thought of as far as it being similar. So although honey is not a note in here, I do feel like they have some similarities. Now I will tell you, once I wore tobacco honey, I realized it was different than tobacco vanille, but we'll talk about those differences. So tobacco vanille from Tom Ford, it's pretty popular. It is a spicy, sweet tobacco and vanilla scent. However, this definitely has a lot of spice to it. I couldn't tell you what types of spice, but like it has a lot of spice and a lot of woodiness to it. So you have to be into spicy scents in order to like this. Also, the tobacco in here is pretty prominent. The vanilla is prominent as well, but it doesn't get super sweet. It's more like a sweet tobacco, and then the vanilla kind of adds to the sweetness. Hopefully that makes sense. But this is more of a drier scent. The tobacco in here to me does not smell smoky. It smells more like tobacco leaves or something like that. But I have heard some people say this fragrance smells smoky, so take that with a grain of salt. But in my opinion, it doesn't smell smoky. One other like note that I did want to point out is I'm pretty sure this has cloves in it. And I know I said I didn't know what spices were in here, but I do feel like I can smell the cloves in here because cloves have a very distinct smell in my opinion. So if you're not down with cloves and those Christmas type spices, this one is probably not going to work for you. I do think this is 100% unisex. However, I have heard some women say this leans masculine to them. So take that with a grain of salt. This is one that I typically only wear during the winter because it is quite powerful. On me, I get pretty good projection. I would say somebody can smell it on me probably up to 6 feet away within the first few hours of me spraying it. This fragrance also lasts a good amount of time on me. I would say probably lasts about 7 to 8 hours. And I probably get to around that 6 to 7 hour mark before it turns into a skin scent. So although this reminds me of tobacco honey, they are not the same. They don't smell exactly the same. They are different enough to have both in my opinion. But initially when I smelled tobacco honey, it reminded me of this one. So again, that is Tobacco Vanille from Tom Ford. The next fragrance I have here is from Xerjoff, and this is Naxos. So this is another very popular tobacco and honey scent, and for good reason. I love this fragrance. I do know that more men tend to talk about this than women. Keep that in mind if you're not into unisex scents. This is a very unisex scent in my opinion. So when I smell this fragrance, it initially opens up with this sweet honey. To me, the honey in this smells realistic. It smells natural, but it doesn't smell animalic or anything like that. It's not super deep in my opinion. It's more sweet. It also opens up with quite a few spices. Kind of smells a bit ambery, and it has lavender in here, I believe, that gives it this aromatic quality. So I think that's why a lot of women don't really go towards this, because at first spray you do get that aromatic nature that I feel like is associated with a lot of fragrances for men. As this fragrance dries down, the honey still remains there, and then the tobacco really starts to come into play. So I would say at very first spray, I don't smell much tobacco. To me, it's kind of more honey, spice, lavender. As this fragrance dries, like within the first like 5 or 10 minutes, the tobacco really starts to come out. And the tobacco in here is not smoky at all. This one definitely smells like a fresh tobacco. So it has those spices that you associate with tobacco, but it doesn't smell like cigars or like cigarettes or anything like that. To me, the tobacco in here is pretty tame. It's pretty well rounded. It's not scratchy or screechy, but it is definitely there and plays a big part in this fragrance. So I would say that like for the most wear of this fragrance, you get the smooth tobacco, you get the honey that adds some sweetness to this fragrance, and then you get the spices. The aromatic nature kind of goes away probably within the first couple hours of wearing this fragrance. Again, this one performs very well. I would say it has beast mode projection and longevity. So on me, I feel like I get at least 10 plus hours out of wearing this fragrance, and people could smell it all around me. This is not one that I overspray, and I think that is to the benefit of me, because I feel like if I really overspray this fragrance, I think it could smell a little bit more masculine than what I want. But because I spray this like normally, and for me, normally it's probably like 8 sprays or so. So I'm not like boom, 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 boom all over, but I am like still hitting the points. I think because I spray it like that, it's not overpowering. I feel like it would be overpowering if I sprayed too much of this fragrance. Now, again, this is tobacco honey scent, so generally I would recommend this for colder weather. However, I feel like this one actually works in warmer weather as well, and I feel like it smells a little bit different in warmer weather than it does in cooler weather. So I actually really like this year round. I find that in warmer weather, it's not too much. Like, I feel like the spices come out and all, but the sweetness seems to be dialed back a little bit when it's warmer, just my experience. However, when it's colder, I feel like I get more of that sweetness from the honey. So if you're looking for a year-round tobacco and honey scent, I definitely recommend this one. So again, this is Naxos from Xerjoff. So the next fragrance I have is from Dior Privé, and this is Tabacalore. And I have to say, this was my favorite tobacco and honey scent until Tobacco Honey came along from Guerlain. Now, I don't know which one is my favorite now, but they're definitely like neck and neck. So this one, again, has a very sweet honey note to it and sweet tobacco. To me, when I smell this fragrance, the sweetness is pretty intense. It reminds me of like a dripping honey. It could be cloying to some people. It's that sweet. But I also feel like that sweetness really makes it unisex. I feel like some men, this is gonna be too sweet for. However, the tobacco is still there. It's still pretty prominent. To me, this one does smell like a mix of different types of tobacco. So in some ways it smells kind of fresh like a tobacco leaf. But this one also has a slight bit of a smoky nature to it. Not too smoky, but definitely a little bit of a smoky nature to it. I absolutely love this scent. This was definitely a love at first sniff for me. So as soon as I got it, I sprayed it on the paper and I was like, yes, I love it. It was a blind buy and there were no regrets. Again, this one has pretty heavy projection and longevity. On me, I get 12 plus hours out of this fragrance every single time. This is not one I overspray because this is one that could easily fill a room. So I spray this one normally, say like 8 sprays or so, and that's probably too much, but I love it anyway. You really don't need a lot of this, but I love it. And I also love that I can smell this on myself the entire time I'm wearing it. So I really get enjoyment out of wearing this fragrance. So this one, because it is heavier and kind of like sticky sweet, I only wear this when it's cool or cold, or if I'm just gonna be in the house and I really want to wear it, I will. But generally, this is only a fall winter fragrance for me, which is kind of like sad because y'all know I don't get much of a fall winter, but I love this fragrance. So again, that is Tabacalore from Dior Privé. The next fragrance I have is from Armani Privé, and this is Blue Lazuli. So this fragrance, out of all of these fragrances here, I feel like this one is the most like fresh, most appropriate for warm weather, although you can wear it cold weather too. But for me, I actually tend to wear this more when it's warm. So when I smell this fragrance, of course, I do get tobacco, but it's very like dialed back. This is a very easy to wear tobacco. I also get honey, but again, it's dialed back. And I feel like honey can sometimes be difficult for people, but this one to me doesn't smell synthetic, but it also doesn't smell like animalic or anything like that. It doesn't smell too sickly sweet. There's also some sort of green component to this fragrance. I'm not really sure what, and I actually find that this one is a little bit hard for me to describe because there's like so many things going on that make it very unique, but at the same time, it's still quite wearable. So there's something in this that almost has like this solar vibe. So it makes me want to wear it when the sun is out, when it's warm. Although, like I said, you can wear it year round, you can wear it at night. It's heavy enough to do that. But for me, for some reason, it reminds me of sunny days. It's gorgeous, y'all. It is really gorgeous. I'm not doing a good job explaining it, but hopefully the notes speak to you more. But it's really good. I definitely think this is perfectly unisex. And out of all the fragrances I'm talking about today, I think this one is probably the easiest for a beginner tobacco trier. So again, if you're a woman who is scared of tobacco, still try to get your nose on this, try it on skin. It's not extremely heavy, so I find that I can't overspray this one and it's never too much. I just smell amazing. So As far as projection and longevity, I would say I probably get about 6 hours out of this fragrance. And for projection, it's moderate. So somebody standing like arm's length away from me can probably smell it on me. But as the fragrance wears, it probably turns into a skin scent around the 5 or 6 hour mark. Either way, it's gorgeous. And because I love the smell of this so much, I do not mind touching it up. But to me, it doesn't last like all day long. So if that's important to you, just keep that in mind. Again, this is Armani Privé Blue Lazuli. And then the last fragrance I have to share with you is actually the very first tobacco and honey scent that I got. This is Back to Black from Guerlain. So this fragrance used to be very popular on these internet streets, but I really don't hear many people talk about it too much anymore, but it is still gorgeous. So again, of course, you have tobacco and honey. The honey in here is quite prominent. Like it is sweet, dripping, and maybe slightly animalic. And when I say honey is animalic, let me see how I can explain that. Like when I say honey is animalic, to me, that means it doesn't smell like honey out of my cabinet. It smells more like what you would think natural honey would smell like straight out of a beehive. Now, I've never smelled that, but it has like this warm kind of like, almost like a warm skin or animal-like nature to it. Hopefully that makes sense. Don't be scared by that. A lot of times when I say like something leans a little bit animalic, to me that makes it more sultry. And that is definitely the case with this one. The tobacco that's in here is also really nice. It's not smoky. It is spicy. It has like a bit of a cherry nuance to it. So I feel like this one is like a sweeter tobacco. I know I said the tobacco is not smoky, but I do feel like there is a little bit of smokiness to this fragrance. But overall, I don't count it as a smoky fragrance. Now, the thing that I think will be hard for some people is that this has something in here that makes it powdery. And it's definitely the most powdery out of this list. So if you're not into powdery fragrances, this one may not work for you, but to me, it really just, the powderiness really just softens this fragrance, makes it almost a little bit cozy in a way. Even though I don't really think of this as a cozy scent, I think of it more as a nighttime going out type scent. But the powderiness, I feel like kind of evens it out. I love this, but I know this is not for everybody. I've heard some people say that this was so powdery that it made them feel nauseous. I don't get that, but I wanted to share that with y'all in case you're wondering. Also, like with most Guerlain fragrances, this is not like a huge beast of a performer. So on my skin, I usually get about 6 hours, 6 to 7 hours. So to me, that's pretty good. And then as far as projection, this one does sit closer to the skin. So somebody that's in my bubble will definitely smell it. This is one that I smell on myself the entire time I'm wearing, but it's not going to enter the room before me. So again, that is Back to Black from Guerlain. So those were my tobacco and honey scents in my collection. Let me know if you've tried any of these, if any of them are on your wish list. Have you all smelled the new Guerlain Tobacco Honey? Let me know what you think of it if you've had a chance to smell it yourself. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. I typically upload videos every Sunday, Wednesday, and Friday, so I have tons of content for you to check out in your free time. Also, check out my website. It's www.simplyaisha.com. Over there, it's more of a passion project, so I post sporadically, but get on my email list over there so we can stay connected in that way. Also, if you want to connect with me more, follow me over on Instagram. I'm typically in my stories almost every day, so if you don't see me on YouTube, I'm probably over there in my stories. So I love to chat with y'all over there as well. I hope you all enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed making it. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in my next one. Bye.